Hey y'all, okay, listen, I just wanted to come in and tell you guys this real quick. Some of these videos, if you guys notice, like there's 2 or 3 videos in one, or like this, when you see a Christmas tree in the background, I filmed a ton of videos for y'all back like earlier, at the end of last year, a while ago. I filmed tons of videos back to back, but I never posted them on here on YouTube because I felt like if I came on YouTube and I gave you guys content, it needed to be perfect. I needed to have the perfect background, the perfect intro. I needed to model after what all these big YouTubers were doing. And so I was kind of embarrassed. Like, I didn't want to put up a 9-minute video or a 7-minute video or a 10-minute video. I wanted to stay true to what I was doing in the beginning with the longer stories, which I still will do. But I ran into an issue, which was I didn't have the money to get the editing software or to hire anyone to help me. So I was like ashamed and embarrassed of the way that the videos were short and they weren't the long form and they weren't horizontal and like all those things. So I didn't put them up. And finally, my best friend was like, listen, you spend a lot of time and a lot of hours editing those videos and filming them and giving them content. And even if it's short, like run a couple, one behind the other, just, give the people what you originally filmed. And at first I was like, no, I'm going to go back and I'm going to refilm them all and I'm going to do them the long way and I'm going to, do them right and all professional looking. And she made a good point. She was like, people that like any creator, they're here for them. They know maybe they're not a millionaire and they don't have all the money of the big creators and all the staff and all the equipment and all the computers and software. Put out there what you filmed, Jen. Just like put it out there. And after that, you can continue to film now moving forward with the better things that you have. So that's what I've done, like in these videos and some others you guys may have noticed, is that I filmed them a while ago, like 6-7 months ago, and I just didn't post them. So if you guys see these videos and you're like, what's up with this kind of, style? It's not a forever thing. I just have a shit ton of stuff that you guys haven't seen. And it's like, it's just going to go to waste. You're never going to see it. So I'm putting it up. And so don't mind the Christmas tree in the background. Don't mind that there's like 2 videos back to back. I'm just going to go ham, turkey, and bologna. I'm going to go wild and just put up every single thing I have. If you guys like some, cool, give it a thumb up. If you don't, keep it moving and hopefully you'll like the next one. I'm not changing up. I'm not doing anything to make it to where you guys don't enjoy what I'm doing. I'm just going to put everything out there and you guys take what you like and leave what you don't, okay? So just so you guys know what's going on with certain videos. And why there's a couple and all that. Like some of them are short, so I just put like 2 or 3 in there. And I'll continue to do that until I have them all out. And then meanwhile, I will also put up the better ones that I have now that I filmed that are like nicer. The aesthetic is nicer or whatever, okay? But I'm not rich, y'all, so I didn't have all this stuff at one point. But I'm not changing up, and hopefully you guys just stick with me. There'll be better stuff coming, okay, as far as like length and quality and all that. But just so you guys have everything. Thank y'all for being here, regardless that I don't have all the fancy schmancy stuff. And P.S. No, I haven't abandoned the true crime. Like, I was in prison with these, really prolific people and like do a deep dive and a story on them. I haven't abandoned that, okay? I haven't. There's still those to come. I love y'all and I thank y'all for being here, okay? So, mwah. See you later. Spent 10 years in prison, but not a few years. There are definitely people who deserve to be in prison. I deserve to get some time. I don't think I deserve 10 years, but nonetheless, I deserve to be there. There are some people, you guys, who literally are in there for the most ridiculous situations. And I'm going to tell you about 2 of the people that were in there with me that I was just like, they sent you to prison for that? Are you freaking kidding me? Here it is. So the first lady, she was about in her 50s. She actually had done prison time prior to the sentence that she was doing at the time when I met her. She had done a 25-year sentence and actually done about 18 or 19 years on that sentence back when she was younger, like in her early 20s. The reason that she got that time was because she killed somebody in an accident. I do know that she was under the influence. People were unalived in this accident due to her recklessness and her being under the influence, right? So when that happened, she got her sentence. She did almost 20 years to the door, and then she was released. When she was released on probation. Now, on probation, you can't break any laws. Obviously, you can't get new charges, but you also can't break any rules or have negative contact with law enforcement. Every month when you go to check into probation, you have to fill out a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, one of the questions is, have you had any contact with law enforcement in the past month? And if you've had anything, even down to a ticket, You need to tell them that, because if you don't, they could violate you and you could go right back or get more time. So apparently what had happened was this woman had been in her driveway, and her driveway was kind of on a little bit of a hill in her neighborhood. Her neighborhood was on a street, like her house was on a street that was not a main road, but it also was a road that, you know, cars and traffic rode down. It wasn't like in a subdivision, let's say, and it wasn't secluded somewhere off in the back. So while there were cars driving up and down this road at a very slow rate of speed, maybe 20, 25 miles per hour max, she was backing out of her driveway going down. And somebody ended up coming down the road. They hit her, she hit them, they bumped into each other, and they stopped. The lady, she ended up pulling back up into her driveway, because if not, she would have still been in the street. She pulled back up into her driveway, and the car that, you know, they had hit each other, it pulled off to the side a little bit, and they waited for the police to come. Well, once that happened, the police report was written, everything for insurance purposes. She ended up divulging this information to her probation officer the next time that she saw her probation officer for the monthly check-in. And what ended up happening was, when they came to her house to arrest her and she asked them why, her probation officer apparently had violated her for fleeing the scene of an accident, because she pulled back up into her driveway. It was more than a certain amount of feet when she pulled back up into her driveway from the actual crash site. And because her previous charge that she had done prison time for, you know, unalived some people, was that of a accident, and, you know, it was of that nature, they violated her. The judge stood behind it. They said it was the same kind of situation. She could have hurt somebody again, and she fled by pulling back up into her home, into her driveway, because she went from the public road back to her home, even though it was like 10 feet. Now, mind you, this lady, she had done almost 20 years to the door of her time, like I said, and she had also had an additional 10 years on probation. So when she had those 10 years on probation, she had already done over 5. But because she had roughly a little bit, you know, 5 or under left, when she ended up getting violated, they gave her all of those 5 to do in prison, not on probation. They didn't reinstate her. She went back to prison, and she was in there for 5 freaking more years because of this accident. This lady had not ever been in trouble again. She had been out for several years at this point, and she had been doing great. But because of this, she went back in her mid-50s for 5 years, and it was ridiculous to me. I don't know if all you guys agree with me. You can let me know in the comments, but to me, it was ridiculous AF, okay? I'm just saying. So anyways, that's the first person. The next lady was a lady. She was about, I think, in her maybe early 40s, somewhere around there. And she had gone to prison for 7 years. It was something fraudulent. She had, you know, scammed and schemed the company that she worked for. She had done some kind of embezzlement. And so she had done her time. She had 3 years of probation to follow. When she got out on probation, she was cruising right along. Life was good. She was doing just fine. But she ended up getting a ticket for fishing. And apparently she was fishing for a fish called snook. Now, this snook fish, I guess, I don't know much about this, but I did hear from her and I did look it up before this video. I guess you need a license or some sort of like permission slip to carry with you in case the wildlife patrol passes you on the boat. So you need to have a license to fish for them that day. And I guess you can't fish for them during certain times of the year. But she was fishing. She was with her husband. She did not have the appropriate license. And so she got a ticket. When she went to see her probation officer for her monthly check-in, she divulged that she had gotten this ticket, which, by the way, you might be thinking, okay, why are these people telling on themselves? You have to tell on yourself, because if you don't and they find out, they'll violate you 100%. And yeah, they're not going to check every time, but you don't know if you're going to be the one that they're going to check up on that day. So you have to let them know, because if you don't, they're going to violate you for not telling them 100%. But if you tell them and they think it's ridiculous or it's not that significant, they'll probably just let you ride and let you go. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go back to prison or jail for a speeding ticket or something like that. But sometimes you just get that asshole, you know, probation officer that's just having a shitty day and wants to just ruin your life. So this particular day, when she ended up telling them, she ended up getting violated right there in the office. They told her to wait. They called the police. They arrested her. She ended up getting 24 months in prison for having a ticket where she was fishing for snookfish without the appropriate documentation. It was a violation, and they sent her to prison. And I think that's ridiculous as well. So anyways, those are two of the stories of ridiculosity, absolutely ridiculousness happening. Let me know if y'all agree, okay? But nonetheless, love you guys. See you later, and I hope you enjoyed my video. Bye. Spent 10 years in prison, spent 2 years in the county jail, and I've been out a few years. And I'm just here to let you guys know, because it matters, that yes, there is a big difference between the county jail and state prison and feds, okay? So if people are talking to you and they say feds, prison, or jail, those are all three very different places with three very different sets of rules and three very different living lifestyles. And I'm gonna break them down real quick for you guys so you guys know what I'm talking about moving forward and in my past videos. And you can understand a little bit better why it matters and why these three places are in no way interchangeable, okay? So let's go. Okay, let's break it down fast. The county jail is in your county, okay? In your county, if you break a rule, you will go to the county jail where you are presumed innocent until you are found guilty. You will sit there either fighting your case and going to court, or you will bond out. You still have rights because you are not found guilty yet. You are just detained and confined while they go through the trial or the court process. At which point, if you are sentenced to 364 days or less, you will stay in the county and you will serve your time there. If you are sentenced to 365 days or more, you will then be transferred to the state prison, which holds and houses the people, the inmates and the convicts who are doing more than a year, okay? That is a very big deal, whether you stay in the county jail and how you live, or you go to the prison. In the prison, it is more like a campus, a very confined one, not like a college campus, but a campus. You have a little more freedom to walk around. You're outside, you can move. And in the county jail, you're just gonna be in a building where you're up and down, maybe in elevators. The most you can do is work in a kitchen, and you're kind of just in a big, huge warehouse all day. A state prison is when you actually have more than the year, like I said. And when you go there, you will be classified depending on your charge, depending on the amount of time you have, and you will be sent to a prison that is appropriate for your history and why you're there, okay? You will get a job. You will move around more freely. The only time you're really locked down is when everyone's required to be in their dorms or in their cells, like at night. And you can have all kinds of jobs, even down to a few paying jobs, okay? You can have visitations that are face-to-face. You can touch. They're all weekend. They're a lot longer because they're all day. And there's just a lot more freedom. I mean, for being incarcerated, there's a lot more freedom than the county jail, okay? Also, you're allowed to have things like tablets where you can watch movies. You're allowed to have makeup. You're allowed to have tweezers, things like that, as to where the county jail, you are not allowed to have those things. And you are also usually in the county jail housed with men. They're on a different floor, on a different unit, but they're there in a Florida state, in any prison, in any state prison. There are no men in your prison. You're not going to see a man anywhere. The men's prison is way somewhere totally different, okay? So that's a big difference too, because in county jails, they're generally co-ed. You're not housed in the same dorms. They're usually like down the hall somewhere on a different floor, but you are there together in the same building. In state prison, never in a million years would that ever happen. God, are you kidding me? Everybody be pregnant. When people refer to the Department of Corrections, that is a prison, a state prison. When they refer to jail or county, that is your county jail, okay? When they refer to the feds, that is the Bureau of Prisons, BOP. Feds is actually when your indictments, when your paperwork says the United States of America versus Jane Doe, versus the state indictments, which say the state of Florida in the circuit court number 6 versus Jane Doe. So when you see an indictment that says the United States of America versus you, that's heavy. That's heavy, man. Instead of the state of Florida in the circuit court of, you know, whatever county versus you, that's a little easier to take. Ooh, you can breathe on that one a little bit less. But I have never been to the feds. I heard the feds is a lot better with what they have to offer and how they live. I also heard that the time is different. Like, I think you have to do 100% of your time. I'm not sure on that. In the state of Florida, in state prison, you have to do 85% of your time. You cannot go any lower. There is no parole in the state of Florida. I don't know if the feds are different, because feds is United States of America. They have federal prisons all over the U.S., and you could be transferred to any of them. If you are sent to a state prison, you will stay in the state that you're in and one of those prisons. So if you go to prison in Florida, you're not going to go to a prison in Texas ever in a million years. It doesn't matter unless you get an interstate compact. But if you have a federal indictment and the United States of America decides you have to do some time, you could go to any prison all over the United States of America, which kind of sucks too. But anyways, guys, that is the difference between the county jail, a state prison, and the feds. All very different, not interchangeable, and I hope that helps moving forward and with any videos that you guys ever see, because it does matter when someone says I was in jail, I was in prison, or I was in feds, as far as what the information is that they're telling you. So hope that helps somehow. Love you guys. See you later.